Alexander the Great, everyone might know about him. He fought so much. He conquered half the world, and yet, when he was about to die from a disease, he didn't even die out of fighting. He was about to die from a disease. What he desired the most was to get back to his home place. It is also said that when he was about before embarking on his great journey towards the east of the world, he met Diogenes, and Diogenes, he cursed him. It is a very funny story about Diogenes. Diogenes, the Greek philosopher, he used to live in a wine jar by the riverbed. And once Alexander had visited him to ask Diogenes what he really wants from him. Being a king, he had the power to gift him anything that he wants. And being the great thinker that Diogenes is, what he asked from Alexander the Great was to move aside from, because he was hiding the sun from Diogenes, was not letting him sunbathe, and he told him to move aside. So that's all that Diogenes asked of him. So Alexander, he really started to question everything. And being in that mode, Diogenes, knowing the intention of Alexander's, that he wanted to travel around the world and conquer it, he told him that what will you achieve out of that? And he said that I'll be finally happy. Alexander said that I'll be finally happy when I conquer the world. Then he said that come here, just take the clay pot right beside, come and sit with me or lay down with me. I am perfectly happy over here. And this was a great revelation, although Alexander could not withstand with it. But it was a great revelation, and it went on to show that Diogenes is someone who has conquered himself through this fight and struggles which were more complex, which are more subtle than the conquest of Alexander. The conquest of Alexander, the fights that he fought, were more gross or sthul in nature. Whereas Diogenes the Great, he had really fought himself, he had done the inner battles, and that's how he had come to that realization, by conquering himself. And the funny part is that Alexander the Great, when he went out to conquer the outer world, he could only conquer half the world, and yet he died unhappy. Whereas Diogenes was himself happily living without much of a materialistic, without much of the worldly possessions, in tune with himself and with his nature. This story, it really focuses and makes us understand or makes us question as to what are we really fighting for. It is not that you have to surrender all your fights. It is just that you have to try and understand the nature of the fights that you are trying to conquer. What are you trying to firstly fight for? And even if you win, what will you really get? Is it something which will give you everlasting peace? Is it something which will pull the curtains from your real nature? Is it something that is going to get you ingrained in cycles, and the cycles which are very grueling, which will keep you trapped? Or is it something which will really take you towards your own salvation and get to know yourself better?